Hi, everybody. This is Joanne Eisen with Reach the Unlimited. Sorry, we're late. I had the problem. But anyway, we're going to take off and have this wonderful conversation with Melanie right now. And I would like to introduce you to her. She is a photographer and she was on the trip to England with me, and we just really hit it off. And I just had so much fun talking to her about such deep things. I said, hey, you got to come on my show and you got to talk to me. And what I really want to do, because as we look at life in weird ways or different ways, that's the way a photographer has to look at life and when they're taking shots. And I looked at some of the shots that she had taken in England, and she took really cool shots because she looked at things in a different way. So thank you for being here, Melanie.
Thanks for having me.
Can you introduce yourself to everybody and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Oh boy, I told you I wasn't that interesting.
You are interesting.
Wait, first of all, can I swear live? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
I'm a good swearer.
I do that. My name is Melanie Reinl. I am a photographer and Melanie Reinl Photography on Facebook. And I'm also a psychic medium. Um, and what else?
A mother,
A mother.
a
I
kick-ass
love
lady.
outdoors. I love animals. There may be animals running around behind me. There's a kitten running around and jumping on things. So if you see it, you see it.
I love that.
Um,
I loved your post today about what did you nickname the kitty because you didn't know its name?
I can't remember. It's a weird
Bruno
name.
or
Bruiser.
Bruiser?
Bruiser. He
This
is so
kitten
cute.
on her Facebook page looks like it could take on the world. It's like ready to take everybody on. How old?
He's like 8 weeks. He's my daughter's boyfriend's sister's cat that we're babysitting.
Love that.
How long? I don't know. But he's really cute.
He is
And
cute.
he's a good looking little guy.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into photography.
Well, I think I've always been into photography. Like I always was the one with the camera. I've always been um, the one with all the pictures. Like in college, I had the blackmail pictures. You know, and now it's true. In high school, I always had a camera out. It's just something I always did, and I just kind of went with it. And then I started taking pictures, and then I had people ask me to do pictures for like small weddings, which
Huh?
freaked me out.
Uh-huh.
But I did it, and I mean, they're obviously friends and casual weddings, which is great. But it just turned out to be something that I was good at, and I also had people ask me to do family pictures, in which I was, mortified. I can't do that, but I did it, and I turned out to be really good. And then I just continued and learned more and learned as I went, and just kind of relied on what I knew.
I love what you said. I just did it. You said it twice in that whole description of yourself, and that's
Yeah.
what I love about you is that you don't let things stop you. But first, I want to say hello to Cassandra, Marsha, and Carol. Say hi to Carol. Carol's here.
Oh, hi, Carol. I can't see any of that.
I'm going to tell you on the top right hand corner, there is the comments. If you push on that, you'll see the comments.
Oh my God. Hi,
Yeah.
Carol. Hi, Marsha. Hi, Cassandra.
So
Ellie, Carol. Sorry.
that is one of the things that I loved about getting to know you, about how you don't let things stop you. You keep going and you keep trying to do whatever it is that you're doing, or doing whatever it is you need to do. Were you always like that, where you just didn't let things stop you?
Um, the funny thing is when I think when I was younger, I was very insecure. Like in high school, I was insecure, and when I was younger, yeah, I think I just learned along the way to just kind of like I've always said what I mean. I always say how I feel. I know how to say no. You know what I mean? I hold my boundaries, and it just kind of as I got older. Now I'm older, and I I don't care. You know what I mean? Like if I don't like it, I say it. So I guess as far as just doing things, I just find that I just think it's really important to say yes. And I say this to a lot of people, and it's going to sound repetitive to them, but you have to say yes. Like you have all these opportunities that come up to you, and you know, people are like, "Oh, I don't know," and it's like, well, you have this opportunity, say yes, try it, you know, and even the things that I do, like you know, I can be scared shitless, but I try it. You know what I mean? So nobody knows you're that scared, but you. So
Exactly. And nobody knows you're having that debate in your own head too about the yes or the no or the should I's or I shouldn't, but
yeah,
you still do it anyway. And how many times when you've done that did it come out to be really a bad idea?
never with photography, never,
Oh, with
never.
I meant in life.
Oh, in life,
Yeah.
I mean,
Forget
there
it.
are some inappropriate stories that I probably can't think of right now, but
We'll stick to
I
photography.
mean, you know, the photography, yeah, I jump in and I do it and I make it work, and it's always been pretty good. I look at my old stuff and I'm like, oh God, please take that down. But you know, it's a growth. But
Yeah.
jumping in and trying things and having it not work, um, I think um, I live a life and have lived a life where I continually have looked stupid at points. You know what I mean? So I'm not afraid of failing. I
Yeah.
hate to look dumb, but I'm not afraid of failing. And that's, you know, you're not moving forward if you're not failing. You're
Ex-
not getting better if you're not failing. Um,
mhm.
you're not learning if you're not doing something wrong.
Exactly.
So I just try to remember that. And the other thing is like all of that internal talk in your head,
Mhm.
nobody hears it but you. So if you
Right.
can turn that around a little bit, things magically get better.
Well, what actually was just talking, I think the last show or the show before, I can't remember, but it was around that time period, the last two shows, about, you never, when you start something, you're not perfect.
No,
You may be better than some, you may be worse than some. It doesn't really matter because you're you. But
yes.
it's when you start and you love it and you continue, that's how you grow. And I feel like that's in every aspect of our life.
Well, I think that's the whole thing. You start something and you're starting. You
Exactly.
have to start somewhere, you know, and if you're like starting over, you're starting over. You have to start somewhere. It doesn't matter. Like everyone has this comparison thing, and like I think I threw that out a long time ago. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like I just don't give a shit. You know, you just have to be yourself, and there's only one me. So you know, I think for me, it's if you like me, and if you don't, you don't. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not gonna try to force you to like me. You know, but you know, it's just like it's just the same thing, just authentic.
Well, I think that's the thing too, though, is not everybody will like us, and that's okay too.
That's fine. Trust
Yeah.
me, there's plenty of people that don't like me because I say what I think, and
Hmm.
but generally, like I treat people how they treat me. So if they don't like me, it's probably because they haven't been nice to me, you know, and I respond accordingly.
That makes sense. The other thing about the chatter we have in our brain, and you would refer to that about we have that chatter that keeps us moving forward. And when we do things, we're not always going to do it right. We're not always going to do it well. We may fail
Yeah.
at something, but I love how you said that doesn't stop you. But what are some tricks that you've done that maybe helps you with that negative chatter, that negative talk that we all have going on?
Oh God. Um, I would say that for me, I'm a perpetual optimist.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's probably because um, you know, just from being younger and just
Mhm.
having a knowledge, just having a knowing that like whatever happens, everything's going to be okay. Whatever if everything goes wrong, you're still going to make it. Everything's going to be okay. something, you run into some adversity and you keep going, and regardless of what happens, you're going to be okay, you know? So um, I kind of think that's a lot of it. And the other thing is, I keep good people around me. I don't really, people that bring me down and that I'm constantly feeling not myself,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really hang out with a lot, and that makes a difference. I hang around with positive people. Um,
What are some of the things that you notice when you're with someone who isn't really helping you in your, and I don't mean that in a selfish way, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
Saying about, we know we need to have the good people around us that will help us to keep moving forward. How do you usually pick out someone who comes into your maybe sphere and you go, not too sure this is a fit, not sure this is
Yeah.
going to work?
And the other thing, when I say that, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to sound like an ass, because I also take people how they are and where they're at. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? I I accept people for where they're at in their life,
Mm-hmm.
But if there's someone that is, like, we all know that when you're around someone that sucks the life out of you, or you're just like, oh, like, here we go. Like, that's not energy that is gonna propel you forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you know a lot of people like that. You know what I mean? Like, where you're like, I don't want to be by you. Like, you don't, if they don't do anything for you, like, why are you there? And it's not like in a selfish way, like it's all about me. It's not like, what can I get from the person? It's just their vibe, their energy. Like, some people you get along with right away, some people you don't. And if you're willing to work on that and do that, that's great. And if not, then move along. You
So
know?
I think the hardest thing for most people to do, though, and I know I have that same issue, not as much anymore because I've had a lot of people in my life that really didn't support or help me in my going forward. They were more of a drag or negative. But it's hard to say no sometimes. How do you say no to somebody or in a relationship where you know that that's not working? How do you experience that?
Well, I'd say I'm also, there's lots of people. Hi, Pam. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Jocelyn. See, I'm good at this.
You are good at this. We
So,
can incorporate. You guys have questions, put questions. Hi, everybody. I didn't say
oh,
everybody because you were talking.
no, but we talked about this on our road trip on our bus. I
We talk
remember.
about a lot of.
I
We
know
sat
this is
often in the back of the bus, and then we would just talk while we were driving or
it
going.
was really fun. Like, it was fun just sitting back there chatting with you. I always enjoy talking to you.
It was.
And I think, like, I always wasn't good at saying no. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a people pleaser, and I innately want to help people. I really want to help people, and I want to push them forward, and I want to say, you can do this. You can do it. Like, let's go. We can do it. And it's almost to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. You just kind of, it probably comes with age, or being hurt, or um, just the same people coming into your space. You know what I mean? You just have to be like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, you just get to the point where,
Yeah.
everyone does that in relationships,
Right.
and with friendships, where you're just like, I can't do this anymore.
I think
Like,
you're right. It comes with age.
right,
You just
definitely.
get wiser and go, it's not worth my energy anymore to be. I've seen this, and it's, I say that a lot now. It's like, I've seen the pattern, I see the energy, I understand it, not going there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it. And then they have that saying and that freaking meme that comes around, where it's like, it just keeps coming until you learn the lesson. That's
Exactly.
so true.
And it's not about being mean or, like trying to cut people off or whatever. It's about just, I think there's resonance, and they're just not resonating at the level that we're resonating at, whoever. I mean, you, me, or whoever. and being able to honor yourself and say, this is really pulling me down. This isn't helping me to move forward.
Yeah.
It's making me feel bad, or it's making me feel less than. Exactly, Jacqueline, is boundaries. It's okay for you to say boundaries, like Jacqueline said, boundaries, like you said.
And it's literally, it's
Mhm.
honestly like people are like, oh, I don't want to say no, I don't, whatever. It's literally self preservation.
Mhm.
Like you're preserving your space, you're preserving your boundaries, you're preserving your energy, your whatever you want to call it, your vibe, your,
Mhm.
you know, I I want good people around me. I want people who are positive. I don't want people who are dragging me down and making me feel bad when I felt great walking into the room. And then I walk in the room and I'm like, oh, God, it's like, it was really nice seeing you, but I think I'm going to go. You know, it's just,
Yeah.
it's that simple. I'm going to go. It's time for me to go. I'll see you guys. It was great seeing you. You know,
Yeah. And Michelle said that she had two friends that she had to release because they were just wearing her down. And that's really what happens is you start feeling like you're dragging, hi Rhonda, or you're not moving forward, or they become the center of your attention versus you being the center of your attention.
absolutely. And then Michelle, good for you because it
Mhm.
becomes, you know, whoever your friend Sarah, it becomes the Sarah show, and
Mhm.
you're like, I don't want to watch the Sarah show anymore. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Vivian. So I have two questions. Which one first? Um, so I really do. It's like which photography or spirit? Photography or spirit? I'm always going to go to spirit, but photography is going to lead there. So one of the things that I love about photography, and I am not a photographer, and I really think that I do really well sometimes. And then I look at the pictures and go, oh, wow, not so much. You know?
Um,
But as you became a photographer and you grew and you learned and you started realizing, oh, I could capture this picture in this way, or I could, like some of the pictures that you took at Stonehenge, I saw you were on the ground and you could look up and you were seeing it from a different angle. And how
yeah.
did that shape and maybe help you to look at life in a different way as you were looking at photography in a different way?
Well, interesting that you say that. I think that I've always looked at life in a different way,
Okay.
so that helped me use photography in a different way. It came
Ah,
naturally because what's the best way to look at a situation is I have to stop moving. I keep,
yeah. Hi, Gabriel.
but the best way to look at a situation or figure out a situation is find a new perspective.
Hmm.
Look at a different perspective, like, or if you're in an argument with someone, or if you're in a thing with someone, look at their perspective, like, or if you're in the middle of two people arguing, there's they say there's the right, the wrong, and or the whatever it is, the right, the wrong, and the um, or her side, and the truth, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know
Whatever.
exactly what you're saying, but yes, I get the point. Yeah.
Perspective is the point. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I think that my life view has always been like that since I was young. I just saw things differently. I always have, and I think that probably helped with photography. Actually, I never thought of that.
I love that. I want to say hi, Patrick, not Gabriel, because you're Gabriel's holistic care, but you're Patrick. So thank you for telling me that. Um, you know, your perspective is a big part of everything we do, right? Our perspective to something can
Absolutely.
really shift in the way that we react or the way that we handle situations that maybe we didn't I mean, it's just so important to everything. So thank you for sharing that. That's really, it's,
But I think it's huge. Like
yeah.
if more people would step away from their perspective for a second, I think it would solve a lot of problems.
I kind of find that is number one, stepping away because you have time to kind of breathe. But really, it's not taking things so personally. It's not that person is doing this against me. They really don't care about you. They're
Yeah,
caring about themselves or their self preservation or their hurt or whatever it is. It really
yeah.
isn't about us. And I think that's the hardest thing for us to do is to be the observer and to be detached.
I would agree with that. And you know, people are speaking from their own perspective, it literally, I don't think people think about, I don't think people think about us half as much as we think they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all the narrative we've made in our head.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But
It
I would definitely
absolutely
agree
is.
with that.
Yeah, I'm really good. I don't know about you, but I'm really good at making up stories in my head. I can create a whole different world in my head.
I mean, that's why you're a good medium. Because you use your imagination, you have to be open, you know? You have to be open to, like, what am I seeing? You know what I mean? Like, that's,
Exactly.
I think that's really important, you know? But yeah, like, no, that's, those are the dumbest things that I do is when I, like, have this whole narrative in my head
Yeah.
about something that's happening that isn't even happening. And then
Yeah.
and then I take a minute and I'm like, you know, did they tell me that or did I make that up? You know,
Oh yeah.
and it's then you then it's all about you. Your perspective
Mhm.
is all about you. It
Mhm.
has nothing to do with the other person. It's the same thing. We just
Yes.
we all do it.
Yep. Yep. And I think that's the biggest. I know I've talked about this a lot, but the biggest thing we deal with as being a medium, right? It's like, is that me? Is that spirit? Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that not? And I know that my team's been working with me lately about you can read a sign. I was talking about this just recently. You
Yeah.
can read a sign. It's like, no, I can't, because I'll start in my head like, oh, I'm making it up. No, I can't see it. It's blurry. No, I and I get all freaked out. It's like, really, you can. So the other day I was in a meditation. I was kind of working with my team, and all of a sudden they showed me a label on a piece of clothing. They were like, see, you can read it.
Well, there you go. What did it mean? What does that mean?
I can do it. I just get in my own head and I freak myself out, and I need to stop doing it. I mean, we all do that though, right? We make up stories or ideas of, like you were saying, right? You just try it. You just say yes to it. You just do it. But sometimes we feel like, oh, it's too big, or I'm going to fail, or I'm going to look bad, or I'm going to fall on my face.
Talk yourself out of it. You
We
talk yourself out of it
we absolutely do
instead of
that.
being like, I'm going to shut up and do this. You
Yeah.
know, which is scary as hell.
What is your go-to thing to get yourself out of bed and do things that you're afraid to do or don't want to do?
Like, sometimes I stay in bed.
I
I
can
do.
understand that. I can understand
Sometimes
that.
I stay in bed, and then it, you know, and usually for me, it's like, all right, it's time to go. You know what I mean? You can only do something for so long, and you're like, it's time to get moving. Like, I need to move my ass. You know. So
That's
that's
self-love.
probably usually it, where I get sick of myself, and I'm like, get up, get it done.
So I'm going to show something on there. This is what Gabriel said. What would you say to that?
You absolutely have to live for yourself. I would agree with that. However,
Mm-hmm.
like there's also a for me, there's also the and I know that what's his name? It's not Gabriel, but it's
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Patrick. Patrick. Oh, thank you
Patrick.
for reminding me, Patrick. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Gabriel. Patrick. I
So
called you Gabriel.
Patrick probably gets this too when he said that, but you know, with obviously do no harm, you know, to anyone else, but you definitely really it's like people think it's not okay to think about yourself.
Uh-huh.
I think it's not okay to
Mhm.
um, do things that I'm so tired of the word self care. I'm so tired of that. Self care. Self care. I just get really tired.
So
But it's
talk about why you're tired of the world self. I'm going to come back to this, Patrick, because I want to talk about that too. But why are you sick of the word self care?
I just think it's like, you know, when things become mainstream and everything's about self care and taking care of yourself, and now it's the thing. But it just gets, you know, when something gets mainstream, I don't like it.
Okay.
But
Well, usually
but
because it's taken out of context or it's overdone.
yeah, and then people lose the actual meaning of it,
Exactly.
essentially. But I think for like Patrick, I agree. You just have to live for yourself. It's true, but I mean, there's also other people in your life, obviously. But yeah, you need to take care of yourself. You need to, like we were talking about boundaries and
Mm-hmm.
talking about the people you want to keep around you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, because you know nobody's going to take care of you like you take care of yourself. So you got to do a good job.
Well, you know what you need. You know what is best for you. Unfortunately, we don't always believe ourselves, but we actually do know what's best for us.
I agree.
I think that the exactly what you said about self-care is about taking care of yourself or living for yourself, because we're here to live this life, our
Right.
life. We have a plan on how we are to live our life. And yet we feel that other people have the right to dictate what we should or shouldn't or could or couldn't, or the motivation behind or not. And
Yeah,
we
or you
lose
follow the crowd or you whatever, and it's like the crowd doesn't know what's good for you. You know,
exactly,
why are you letting the crowd tell you what you need? Like that.
exactly.
I
And
just
so
think,
I
yeah,
feel that society has put on us that that's a bad thing.
I think so too.
Hmm.
I think that we go in waves. We
Hmm.
go in waves where it's all societal pressure. Oh my God, I could talk about this forever. I don't know if we want to get into this. It is. I'm serious. It's all societal pressure because I cannot tolerate, like, I just hate following things just because society says that you're supposed to. I hate it.
Exactly. And we do it all the time. And a lot of times we don't even know that we're just following the crowd and it's not in our best and the right alignment. We do know what is best for us. Sometimes we do what's not best for us because we feel guilty or we feel like we're letting somebody down. And we
Yes.
know it's going to
You're
hurt
supposed to
us.
please them, right? We should
Yes,
please the
people.
person
Yeah.
by taking the hit ourselves.
And 9 times out of 10, when we're doing what really is the most loving for ourselves, when we're doing that, where live for yourself. I love that. I just have to use it that way because it really
Yeah,
puts it in line.
yeah,
We're actually going to do what's best for other people, because now
right.
we're no longer in anger. We're no longer in stress. We're no longer holding ourselves back. We're not being compressed, depressed, and retained. We're being the truth of who we are, which is usually to be of service to other people. But like you said, sometimes you just don't get the hell out of bed.
Yeah,
You need
and
a
that's okay. Like
yeah,
I've done that a million times, and it feels great. I love
yeah,
it. But
yeah.
when you do look for yourself and you take care of yourself, then you're not feeling you're feeling a little bit more whole. You're feeling a little bit more complete. So you're not reacting to people the way that you might. You're not, like, it changes everything when you're actually taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people to do because our society does put a lot of guilt on us. And
Oh
you know,
yeah.
I'm not sure what you said before totally, but I feel like when people aren't really doing that, living their life, their authentic life, it is what causes depression. It is what causes us to go to be a train wreck. It is the cause to making poor decisions or to be angry. And if you could imagine a world where everybody was really living what they're here to do, what their life purpose is, we wouldn't have the murders, the drug addictions, the alcoholism, the things that are more destructive to our lives than what we have now.
Yeah, maybe not. I think there's some. Sorry, sorry. I have like three things going on.
Maybe not.
But I think a lot of those things would be because I think, like, um, we're human and we fall into those things. But I mean, if whether we want to or not, sometimes there are just people that are predisposed to fall into that type of thing. And if we all were living for ourselves, if we all were holding our boundaries, if we all were doing all of these things, I don't think we'd be human.
Well, I've often said that if we were perfect, why would we be here?
Right.
We wouldn't be here. We
We're
would
here,
need to
we're
be
here to
here.
make mistakes. We're here to
Yes.
learn how to love. We're here to learn how to have boundaries. We're here to get the guy out of your life. We're here to make sure that that guy doesn't come in because he's just like the last guy. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
we're here to learn that. So
Yes.
I don't see a world, and I tell my kids this. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't see this perfect world. A world with world peace and you know what I mean? Like, I hate to be a downer, but as long as there's humans, there's going to be strife. There's As long as there's different races, there's going to be, racial everything. We're human. Now, can it get better? Heck yeah. But I mean, I think we're all up against um, a lot of societal things.
Well, I feel like it's also, how are you learning from this example or that example? What did you get from that? Where did you grow from that? And there's no right or wrong whether you did or didn't. It's
Right.
just, how did you grow? Because that's what's going to dictate or direct whatever your next relationship is going to be.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, because what I'm hearing you say is, as a human being on this planet, hence we're here in this density to experience the polarities of life, that this world would continue on for indefinitely? Or is there, I mean, have you ever thought about that?
Like if we keep going on like this, you
Yeah,
mean?
like, I mean, we're going to keep coming back for these wonderful experiences so we can keep learning these wonderful lessons and keep going for eternity.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I think so. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I just feel like it's for me. I feel like it's this eternal thing. Like this is a learning ground. As far as
Yeah,
I know, Earth is like a learning ground, and um, Jacqueline says it's a balance. I had a teacher
yeah,
that said everything in moderation. I think
yeah,
that's so true. I agree. I agree with that. Everything
yeah.
in moderation. But not everybody's going to have everything in moderation.
Yes.
Thus the whole human thing, and thus
Yeah.
I mean, we're endlessly going to need to. Sorry, I keep moving.
Your camera's not liking
Obviously,
it.
um, I just think we're always going to be like this constantly changing, and you know how things come back, and why am I so blurry?
I don't know. You got too close, and now it's like, wait a minute. There you go.
Um, I just think it's going to be a constant learning ground. I really do. Like where there's humans, there's fuck ups. You know what I mean?
There totally is.
There
But do
just
you?
is, and that's never going to change in
Yeah,
my eyes.
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. I agree. Although I do feel like there's different levels of people. Um, doesn't make one level better than the other, which I really want to state. If one comes back resonating at a higher level, it just means that was their lesson of this life. Not that that's a better person than someone who may be a mass murderer. It just is not. It's the coming to this world to have an experience, my belief system.
Right.
But do you think
Really.
that I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know that this world will keep continuing in that way. That I feel like eventually we'll all have learned the lessons that we need to learn, and then we can create a whole nether universe where we can do even more stupid shit.
Well, I think there's always going to be stupid shit. That's my opinion, but that would be really nice. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think that would take a long time
I do too. I
because
really do.
we're human and we're built to be stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you said, like not there's not a you know, and I'll use the example of like people ask, well, I heard that everyone's a medium, everyone can do that, and I agree.
Hmm.
I agree, but I also think that like everyone has intuition, of course. We all know that.
Hmm.
That gut feeling, and whether or not you listen to it, that's up to
Hmm.
you. But I think that everyone has the ability to communicate. It's just that I don't believe that everyone who can are meant to do that. Maybe in this life, you know what I mean? Like it's everyone's capable. We're all capable.
Hmm.
It's just some people it's not on their radar. Some people don't really care.
Hmm.
They're like, I don't care. I'm trying to live my life. I'm going to work, taking care of my family, whatever, and it's not their thing. But it doesn't mean that you know because I embraced it that I'm somehow better, or because you've been doing it longer, I've been doing it longer, where somehow it doesn't. You know, we're all just the same.
Well, that's a whole nother topic, the egoic side of the mediumship world that is alive and well and absolutely insane and crazy and stupid, but that's a whole nother
Was
conversation.
not what I was trying to get into. Speaking generally,
You said it.
generally,
Well, I always liken it to
yeah,
I can sing, but I'm not going to be an opera singer.
right,
Even if I go through years and years of training, am I going to be an opera singer? One, I wouldn't have the fortitude, I'm not saying that right, to
yes,
fortitude, thank you, to do all the work to become an opera singer. It's not going to be in my heart or desire to go through all that training and years and years and years of work to have that kind of voice.
yeah.
I'm just not.
And for me, I'll sing in the shower. I don't have any interest to sing anywhere or to take lessons. I don't care. You know? And it's the same thing. It's like, oh,
I'm
you froze.
sorry.
Oh,
I'm
there
reading.
you are.
No. I'm reading Patrick's. Patrick's got good questions. I like this, Patrick.
Yeah, you gotta pay
How do you
attention to
feel about
this.
the afterlife? Is there a spirit life, or do spirits just move into another entity? That's a really good question. What do you feel about that?
Hold on, I'm finding it.
It's way at the bottom. Last one at the bottom. Here,
When you
I'll
feel
help
about
you.
the end of life.
There you go. It's on
Oh,
this
oh, oh my.
power. I have the power.
How do you feel about the end of life? Is there a spirit life, or do our spirits just move into another entity here on this planet? I, in my opinion, I think there's absolutely a spirit life, and I think there's some sort of decision making that we choose whether or not we reincarnate or we come as a completely different entity in this life. That's my opinion. I think there's absolutely a spirit life, but I think there's many different. Um, say that
Think about that for 1 minute. Hold on. Think about
yeah,
that for 1 minute.
okay.
Patrick, while she's thinking about that, what do you think about our loved ones on the other side? Do you feel like they're spirit, or how do you feel about that part of it, mediumship and all that? Okay, go ahead. I just want to see what his answer is to that
Oh
before we
yeah.
go.
Um, yeah, I also actually believe that there's a spirit life, and I personally, this
Mm-hmm.
is just me. I think while I am speaking to your mother or your grandmother, um, I think that while I'm speaking to her energy and conveying messages to you, I do think that she could have also reincarnated as your granddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I can still speak to her. I think that there's so many facets of energy that I feel like, okay, your grandma passed, she reincarnated as your granddaughter, and I can still communicate a message from her because there's a piece of her energy still available
Mm-hmm.
for that kind of communication. Like I think there's so much that we don't know.
Oh, that's absolutely true. Absolutely.
So I do believe that. So like there is a spirit life, but I also think there could be a spirit life while we move into another entity here on this planet. What do you think of that, Patrick? What's
Well,
your
one of the things that I learned through my experience in the religious world and growing up is that we absolutely know nothing. We
right?
only know what we experience here. We absolutely cannot say what's happening on the other side because we're
Right,
not there. Now,
right.
we can talk with the other side and get information from that standpoint, but we don't know what actually is going on the
No,
other side.
no. And then, like I'm fine with that. Like I will never say, "Oh, I know." Like there's some things I feel like I truly know, but I can't say. Like who can say?
I love what you're saying, Patrick. And let me tell you my beliefs. This is not belief. This is my belief. My experience with that is that we're in all religions believe that we're created a soul. We have a soul. We are a soul, however you want to look at it. And that our soul, though, isn't just tethered to one thing at one time. That's our human thinking that it has to be. one thing at one time, one life, one experience, one whatever. But our souls can do many different things. And I believe that my soul is what guides me as a human being in this particular lifetime to experience what I came here to learn as a soul. This is my belief. Again, I don't know it for sure. This is my experience. Um, and so when like your example, right, of the grandmother and the daughter, being that the grandmother would have lived a life. And again, we don't know if we're all living the same lives in parallel time. We have no idea time and space, right? We can't limit it to this life that I'm living now potentially could be somebody else's life in China or Russia or wherever. But yet we limit it to here. I mean,
Yeah,
mind blowing stuff.
yeah,
But
way into the time space stuff too. Like I
yeah,
just,
but I think that, like what you were saying, Gabriel, your parents are a soul that are, my belief, again, I'm going to keep saying that your parents are a soul that has crossed over into the spiritual realm as your parents. And you absolutely can get dreams and communication. That's what we do as mediums. And thank you for putting that in there to clarify where you're at, because as mediums, we talk to people that have passed over. We bring your loved ones through. And the thing about it is they can't come through as a soul. You wouldn't know them. They can't come through as a sister in a past life. You wouldn't know them in this life. So they have to come through as that particular person they were at the time you were relating to them. And that's what mediumship is about, is bringing that particular person to you for the healing and communication, for you to be able to connect with them and heal or do whatever you need to do with them as as that communication is being done. That's my experience.
well said. I also want to. I see Jacqueline Park. I
Mhm.
wonder why we do that. Write these narratives. I think it's self doubt. Like we just have, we grow up and we think, um, you know, and again, it's societal things. I think like when you're little, they're talking about me. This is happening, and then you get these narratives going on in your head, and it's just like I think it's like a self doubt. And then you kind of, as you get older, you start to know yourself more, and you start to know how people communicate. You start, if you're a watcher, like I was a little kid and I was a watcher. Um, I think that those narratives slowly can disperse.
Mhm.
But I agree, and yes, beautifully flawed.
Yes, I agree
I
too,
like that.
Jacqueline. Jacqueline, I have a question for you. I have Gabriel's his post pinned. Can you read this post that I have pinned right now? Because you're teaching me right now. Because when I have Facebook and YouTube, Facebook can't see what YouTube is doing, and YouTube can't see what Facebook is doing, and it gets frustrating for people because it's like you're talking about something, and I have no idea what you're talking about. And it gets very frustrating for people.
Yeah,
This is one of the downfalls to having two. But can you see that, Jacqueline, what I have pinned? Got it. Okay. Yes, you can. I just wanted to make sure that you actually could see when I pinned something. Perfect. It's really interesting what we go through as human beings. And the more and more that you become connected to spirit and you understand the bigger picture, or what really we're doing here, how that alters your life. But do you also feel like you think you're crazy and this all doesn't make sense? And what's reality and not reality?
I'm a lunatic.
Is that what causes drinking? It's like, are you kidding me? You stop talking to me.
No, yeah, you absolutely. How could you not feel crazy?
Yeah.
How can you not feel crazy? Like, hey, guess what? You talk about your dead grandma. Like, that's weird. That's weird to say. That's why it took me so long to say out loud that I'm a medium. So I
Yeah.
was like, that's weird. And I remember when I was little, and I had some knowing that
Uh-huh.
I was a little bit different, and I kept looking at those ladies in the the long swaying, like whatever they're called, and the you know wraps on their heads or whatever, and I'd be like, I don't want to be a weird lady. I don't want to be weird like that. But
That's
I'm a
funny.
little weird, but in a good way. So
I feel like I don't have to go around and force that on anybody or everybody. I just, if somebody wants to know about it and they ask me about it or they talk to me
Right.
about it, I'm not any more afraid or embarrassed to say, absolutely, I can do this for you, or this is what I do, or anything like that. The thing I notice is that people are afraid to ask about it because they're afraid to hear your answer. That's the funny part.
Well, that could be it. Otherwise, they are staring at you, waiting for you to be like, "Oh, your grandma's behind you."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to eat dinner. Like
Yeah.
I don't think about it unless something or someone approaches, and I'm like, whoa, you know. But like, yeah, I think people are afraid to ask, or I think it's just like anything else. They are afraid to ask, or they figure that you're going to talk about it, and it's not my lead into a conversation.
Yeah. Hi, Don. You know, Patrick, what's interesting, you and Melanie had the same experience. For me, I had the opposite. When I was growing up, this was like evil. You didn't touch it, you didn't go near it, you didn't talk about it, you didn't engage in it. I mean, you stayed away from it. And it really was difficult for me. I mean, it took me a lot of work to come over to get over that and to change that way of thinking.
Yeah, I think
Exactly, Patrick. I agree. We're more here. Patrick, we're having a conversation with you clearly today. My father passed away and I talk a lot about this, but my father passed away and I hated my father. And he hasn't come through in a while lately, though. But I have a closer relationship with him now because I understand more of him now, and I talk with him now. So it does change when you have a relationship with your a past loved one, that you can repair a relationship or understand it, that kind of thing.
I think it definitely helps because you can understand that he was living his purpose. You know what I mean? Like our souls are the same, our souls are equals, our souls are all love, but he was here living his purpose, and that may not have jived with yours, but
Absolutely.
like he was here for a reason for you to live
Ex-
yours, you know,
well, I've
which
often said,
people really look at that. And by the way, Patrick, you do need a massage. Yes, get a massage. That's a big thing for a massage therapist to say. I need a massage. I
it
saw
is.
it before, and I kept wanting to comment. Sorry.
Where did he say I need a massage? I
He
missed that
said
one.
he said I'm a massage therapist, and sometimes I don't realize that I need a massage.
Oh, I missed that statement. Yes, you do need a massage. We all need a massage.
But that's a huge statement. Like you forget that you need exactly what you give other people, which is
Right.
huge. So you're a
Exactly.
step ahead, friend.
Yep. Yep. You are absolutely.
Seriously.
Um, I
Dawn.
think
Hi. Hi, Dawn.
I think for me, not understanding my dad though was he wouldn't talk about his childhood, and his childhood wasn't the best, which is very interesting. Well, another topic, but it
Yeah.
wasn't the best, and it affects them. But I often say that my belief is that we all sit up in the great cafe in the sky and we all go master planning all these events in our lives and how we're going to pursue or unfold them or live them. And it's really crazy. It's crazy
Yeah.
what we do to each other.
No, I had the same thing. Like my mom did not talk about her childhood. I know some bad things happened to her when she was young, just from my own knowing.
Yeah.
But um, she never really talked about it. And I would ask her things about like her relatives and stuff, and she would tell me a lot of things because I'm also a genealogist. I've been a genealogist for like 22 years. Um, but I would ask her, and she really didn't tell me much, and I always regretted that. And I once had a reading at Arthur Findlay College. The first time I went there, my parents were coming through like gangbusters, like every chance they could. And one of the things that I got a reading in the sanctuary by one of the tutors.
Uh-huh.
One of the things my mom said was, she said she's really sorry that she didn't talk more about her life,
Mm,
which was really nice.
yeah.
And a surprise because I was like that's authentic because she really didn't. She
Yeah.
would she would talk in general, but she wouldn't you know go into detail about a lot of things. So, you know, they also know in spirit where they're like, oh, I should have done that, you know.
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
mean, obviously, she's probably not, you know, she knows the purpose of that now, but
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
probably letting me know that in this life, she sure does wish she would have told me more. And so do I.
I've had a few times in, like, as you're training to be a medium, as you know, you go through practice circles and whatnot. And so I've had a lot of opportunity over the years to have a lot of readings for my loved ones. And I have one loved one who comes through that I don't believe that they always say they're sorry for something, but when it hurts you, when it's something that's hurt you, then they will come and make that right. And so I had this one family member that came through and said, I am sorry for this situation, this happening, and how that affected you. And that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, and it really does.
Mhm.
That's part of the healing, I think,
Yeah.
because when I got that message for myself, I was like, you know, like she knows my because I still like struggle because I'm still looking for things on her side of the family, and I'm like, that's a huge thing for me, you know.
Yeah.
And while she was a great mom, we didn't have like this. Um, we didn't have a typical mother-daughter relationship. Although me being the youngest, I was the last in the house. But she also had said that um, in spirit, she's learning a lot about how motherhood by how I mother my daughter.
Mm.
That blew me away. I was like, you know, because you don't like she just wasn't capable of doing that at
Hmm.
that time. Like she was, you know, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances, which I totally understand. But
Yeah.
that hearing that, it's like, you know, there's it's just the parallel between, you know, just that spirit could be learning from us. Like there's so many things we don't know. There's just so
Yeah.
many things we don't know. I just it's so incredible to me.
Yeah.
And
Uh, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, it's okay.
I was looking at Gabriel's. I thought you were done. I was going to ask Gabriel, are you in the camp of being afraid of it because of your past religious beliefs? Hmm. Here.
And what do you and also what do you mean by I still have trouble with this medium thing?
Yeah. I my gathering from that is the belief of that, or feeling that it's probably the belief of it and the feeling that it's okay and that it's real. Is that what you're saying about that,
Right.
Patrick?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
What he's
And
saying.
yes, about the okay. So when I grew up, I was raised a Catholic, and the only thing I could tell you about how fearful I was is that I was probably around 12-ish years old when my family used to go spend time with other families, and all the kids would play together and we all got to know each other. It was like a thing. And one night they would play cards and drink and do whatever, laugh or whatever. And the kids all got together outside and they decided they would do a seance. And I was like, no flipping way. I was scared to death. And I knew that we were all going to go to hell because I had a very strong belief in God when I was young. And the first thing that I realized is that the Catholic religion is a hypocritical religion. I mean, you cannot even, I don't even know how anybody goes in there doesn't see the hypocrisy in that religion. But anyway, and so then I went into other religions that even got me deeper into knowing you even did anything like this, you were going to hell because the Bible is the Bible. Well, I can go on a whole topic about the Bible.
But your God is loving.
Well, that's what I had to learn though, because when you're in religion, you learn that God is a vengeful God and God is going to punish you for blah, blah, blah.
It's
But
such a
man wrote
shame.
the
It's
Bible.
such a shame.
It is.
It's control.
It
It's
is.
control. It was money back then.
Yeah.
You know,
Did
whatever.
you have that kind of experience?
Me?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I grew up in a Catholic school,
Okay.
wearing uniforms and everything, the plaid uniforms, and I just, I I listen to everything, and I will say that I learned to have a relationship with God, and I still do. I believe in God as, a higher power. I don't know specifically what that is, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but I do believe there's a higher power. Um, and I think there's like a consciousness, and I think we're all a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was young and in a Catholic school, just there were some things that made sense to me.
Yeah.
Like immediately, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And
Mm-hmm.
then there were a lot of things that, like even as a child, I was like, "That doesn't make sense."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there would be, they'd say one thing and then they'd say the opposite, and I was like, "That doesn't make sense." Like I don't. So it was really confusing for me, and like, side note, they always had the whole thing about, honor your man and do what your man says, and there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a man in my house. I was raised by my mom alone,
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
and none of that made sense to me. And I was like, well, where do I fit? Like,
Yeah.
where does our family fit?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a ton of things that I can say like that. It's just, when you don't feel like you fit in this whole
Mm-hmm.
um, narrative, we'll use that word again, this whole
Exactly.
narrative.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you question everything pretty young, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
I questioned it, and I took what made sense to me. I took
Mm-hmm.
what I knew that made sense to me, because in I have talked to God and spirits since I was a child, my whole
Mm-hmm.
life, my whole life. So it's not a lack of belief in a higher power. It's just a lack of the belief in the shit they're feeding you. You know?
And our parents have a strong hold on us. We have a lot of respect and trust in them, and so we believe. And it's not that they're doing it on purpose. I'm not putting parenting down or what they believe down, but that's the way we live in our society, right? Is we trust them.
Yeah. Well, I still have
Yeah.
problem bringing up what I hear from spirits, and people are on me for the same reason. I'm a former Catholic as well. Yeah, but here the other thing is, like, who cares? They can take it again. If people like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. They can take it or leave it. Like, or
Yeah.
you can really, ethically, you can ask if they would like the message, or if they came to you for the message, you just explain that you're just going to say what you get, whether they may like it or not. But yeah, if you're getting a message for someone that came for it, give it to them. If it has nothing to do with your Catholic religion or theirs, they
Right.
came for a message, give it to them. You
Yeah.
just have to be true to yourself and be true to the message. Give it correctly and the way that you got it, and you've done it well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And don't change it so that they might feel better about how they got it, because then you're not giving the message. And quite frankly, if someone says no, I don't want that, I don't believe in that, then that's fine.
Yeah.
It's
You
fine.
just say, I honor that. You just honor that. I
Right. And
feel
that's
like,
go ahead.
Patrick, for you, it's just like what you said, right? When I was younger, I did the same thing. I would see things and I would question it. And I would see the hypocrisy in it. This does not match what you said over here. This does not seem right. This is off. Something's off. But I'm very hard headed. So it took me several religions to figure this out. But I needed that time because it was all of those lessons that taught me what my truth was. I questioned it. I asked questions. I like Perrette saying that the priest would just say, "It just is." I heard that so many
I was
times.
reading that too. Yeah. I mean, and
We
what
don't
kind
want
of
to
answer
answer
is
it.
that? Like, what kind of answer is that to a little kid? Because I
Exactly.
said so.
Yeah,
That worked a
exactly.
lot. You know,
But
it's just, I don't know.
I feel like we are on our own journey. And Patrick, I think that you're on your own journey and you're going to understand in your time and create the life that you want in your own time. I know that sucks, but we can't move time. We just have to do it in our own way. And you're going to understand it because I feel like my journey,
Hi, Marilyn. Sorry.
my journey was to create my own truth. And that's what I had to come to. And I think you'll do the same thing. It's just ask the questions. Who are you afraid of, Patrick?
Afraid to ask questions?
Yeah. I still just afraid to ask questions. This is really hard for me today.
Do you, is your, so if you're in this position where people are questioning whether or not you're really getting the message, whether or not you're really a medium, whether or not you're authority figures, afraid of authority figures. Well,
That's pretty common, especially from the Catholic religion. Bye, Marilyn. Good night. Thanks for being here.
Patrick, how old are you? I don't mean to be rude. I'm just asking. For a ballpark?
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, while we're waiting, what I was saying before is that, like, if you have people that are questioning whether or not
58.
Okay, why are you worried about authority figures? You are an authority figure.
But it's a programming. I get it.
You know what I mean?
Patrick, I get it. Because it's the authority, right? It's not really the authority. It's the what we're taught connected to that authority and the consequences that come from it and the belief system that's around. It's a whole, like, you have to start untying all of that from the top and work back.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Like, you have to unpack all of that.
It is the
that's come with you. But you have to remember that you're a grown man. You don't have to subscribe to everything that every person tells you. So when you have this authority that's like saying this is this and that is that, you don't have to take every word. You can take what works for you and what makes sense for you and take that, and that's okay too. You know, so but it's definitely a lot to unpack all of the things that you've been taught and that you've been guilted into feeling, even though you didn't believe it. You know, like what I was saying before is that they go to the washroom too. It's true. My mom would say that they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, one of the things that helped me, because I was raised in such a strong authoritative family, it was like you did things when you were told to do it right, that you did not wait 1 minute or you would not like the consequences of it. And so what I had to do is I started making situations that I had to make another choice. I don't want to say rebel because it wasn't really rebelling, but I would have to make another choice. Like if something said to me no, I would do the yes in ways that it was safe for me to do it. I'm not telling anybody to go do crazy shit, just in ways it's safe, but you challenge those belief systems, because it is, I mean, it's easy to say you're 58, get over it kind of thing. And you didn't say that, but that's basically.
I was like, hold on.
No, she didn't say that. I'm saying that.
Did I say that? Did I come on?
No, you did not say that. She did not say that. But it's, you know, it is bigger than what it seems, because it's such a, oh, that's okay. You're taking Jacqueline's place, Patrick. Jacqueline is usually my person we hone in on, and you're the honing in on today, and which is great. You're asking really important questions that you're not the only one who's asking them. Right. Absolutely. But, you know, it is something it's reprogramming your mind. It's just reprogramming. I knew you would like that, Jacqueline.
Anyone can ask questions.
Wait a minute. I need to know, Jacqueline, did you take a shower? Is your hair wet? Because if you are, you're coming on live. I just want to know that. In your pajamas, too. In your pajamas. No, what Melanie said is right. Melanie, I'm not saying you didn't say that. But what it is reprogramming is what I wanted to say. It's reprogramming your reaction, because it's not about your physical reaction. It's the way you're wired in your head from your past. And that's why I would physically make myself do things that were the opposite. Like, you know, the greatest thing, you put on your navigator and it tells you to turn left here, you go right. Literally, that would make my whole nervous system go, because I made a mistake. I did something wrong. I should have done. And it's those kinds of things that helps you to see that you're in control of your life. And you can do whatever the damn well thing you want to do. You don't have to get anybody's approval.
And Patrick, that's easy for me to say, because I've always been kind of a rule breaker. Okay, if I don't understand it, I'm like, no, I don't want to. So it's easy for me to say that because I've made a practice of sticking to my guns, and I'm a Taurus. So.
I think it's more that you're a Taurus, because I'm a damn stubborn person. Yeah. But when it came to God, when it came to religion, I
Yeah.
didn't cross the line on that. I would do it to my parents, hands down. Don't even blink. They said do
Mhm.
left, I would do right. I mean, hands down. But when it came to
That's
God
true.
or religion, I was like, hell no, I am not going to do the opposite on that.
Yeah,
Just
I
shit.
just had I just I'm telling you, even as a young child, like 7 or 8, I just felt like I knew differently.
I love
I
that.
don't know how to describe that. I just felt like
Mhm.
I knew differently, and I'm so glad. But I
Yeah,
just was like, some of the stuff, it just isn't right. And
yeah.
I think I told our priest once, Jesus wouldn't like that you said that. And I got this nice
Well, it's
pat on
good
the
you
back.
just got that. I used to get that.
Oh no, well, from the priest, no, hopefully not. But the other thing I was going to say to Patrick, real quick, is when you have people questioning whether or not you're getting messages from spirit, whether or not you're really a medium, or I don't know if I believe in that stuff, or yeah, I don't know, when people say that, it doesn't change anything for me. Like,
Hmm.
if they don't believe that I'm doing what I'm doing, it doesn't change any. Shit doesn't stop happening to me. Sorry, you know what I mean? Like, if someone doesn't believe it or someone isn't sure about it, that's great, but it doesn't change anything for me. It never has my whole life. So um, you just have to, yeah, learning to be a little more assertive, and that's kind of it. You just that's what comes with like unpacking all of those feelings, because that's part like shadow work. That's
Yeah.
part of all that.
Getting
Doing
orbs if
doing
you
the
want to learn
work
about
to
shadow.
reverse that thinking, and to really like think, what do I believe, and
Hmm.
then trust yourself.
Yeah.
Just trust yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you're entitled to have your opinion, and you're entitled to have your belief, and to follow it. Period.
Yeah.
So
And I have seen her do it. She did that when we were in England a couple times.
what did I do?
You
Oh
would
crap!
say
What did
something,
I?
and you would be very kind and gracious about what you knew and how you said it. Is that being the truth? And it's true
Oh
though. We have to stay behind, stand behind what it is that we know. We can't change it or alter it because someone doesn't agree with it or doesn't like
yeah.
it. We
Now I'm
have
trying
to
to think
stick to
about what
it.
you're talking about. I'm like, oh crap.
You were very kind. No, when you would say something and somebody would say, "No, that's not true. That's not." The only thing I have to say for those mediums who do that, don't do that. You
That
know
do
what I
what?
mean? If somebody says, "Oh, your father was a railroad engineer and he did that for 30 years," no. You, as a sitter, would say, "No, that I can't understand that." And then I've had mediums go, "Well, you just don't know your father. Don't do that."
I don't like that. I don't like that. It's like, if I say something and they don't get it, I'm like, just write it down. Because chances are, and it's always happened, that they write it down and then they come back and they're like, oh my God, I talked to his best friend.
Yes.
That's exactly who. Although they don't know, because they don't know the person, which is really
Yeah.
weird. But the connections that are made
Yeah.
after the reading,
Yeah.
they have impact. You know what I mean? Which
Does.
is
It
really
absolutely
interesting.
does.
So I
It
always
keeps
just tell
it.
people to write it down
It
while I'm
gives.
sweating, by the way.
Yes,
I
but
have, I,
you do it so lovely.
oh God.
You
What
absolutely do.
do you mean? What are you
You're
referring to?
very kind about it when you're like, but well, just write it down or, maybe think about it or whatever. You do it so nicely. I've
No,
seen
thank you. I
very
just,
kind.
but it's simple to say, like, just keep that in your pocket. Keep that information in your pocket,
Yeah.
and we'll go on. And then 9 times out of 10, it'll pop it, and they'll be like, oh yeah, you know. So I don't know. And the other thing is, I can be wrong. I can be wrong.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like, people think like you're a medium and you're supposed to get everything perfectly right. I may not just be. I may just not be getting the message right. Like,
That is Dawn, that is the epitome of what is the issue, right? That you're going to go to hell. And that is a big thing that religion holds over your head. And none of us want to purposefully go to hell, right? It's like, no, I'm gonna live on the side of safety versus what I really believe, because I don't want to go to hell. But in my belief system, we're already in hell right now. This is hell. we're not going to hell. Um,
I think I think that God, that makes me so sad. It makes
it,
me so sad that all these religions, they say like, "Oh, God is a loving God," and then you're going to go to hell if you,
yeah,
um,
exactly.
whatever. Like, God, in the Bible says that you shouldn't have tattoos. I mean, or you shouldn't have piercings.
Yeah,
Like,
it's. I
everyone
had
has
one.
pierced ears.
I
Everyone
had
has pierced ears. Every single, you know what I mean?
I
That's like
had one minister who said that you can't have animals in the Bible. It says that you cannot have animals for pets.
it's
It's
there's
in the
just
Bible.
it's a first of all,
Control.
they've been translated from it's been translated from different languages, different translators, and then retranslated. You know what I mean? And that's all human.
Yeah.
It's the perception of each
Mm-hmm.
translator from
Yeah.
different languages
Yeah.
where the words really aren't the same, but they pick the words that are, and I'm not making total, I'm just pointing it out. Like, they use words that aren't quite the same because, sometimes in languages the words don't quite equate. So then they change it a little bit and then it's transferred. It's just,
But there's also some scriptures that words were left out on purpose. It's just
right. And
a
there's some removed.
whole talk on the Bible here can do
But
it.
there's also some amazing things in the Bible.
There is some
And
amazing.
there's some good stuff in the Bible. But
The thing about me, though,
handmade.
the thing about me is it's more used for controlling people. It's not used for having people have better lives. There's
Right.
also in the Bible mediumship, psychics. It's all in the Bible, but yet the priests can do it, but the layman can't. But the part that they forgot is in the New Testament, when the veil was ripped, the Old Testament went away and the New Testament came in, and then the Old Testament came obsolete and it's no longer used anymore. Because I'm just saying, the New Testament's what's valid right now, which means it's okay for us to
There's
do.
just a lot of contradictions that I can't get with. Gabriel, not tattoos, piercings, I meant. And I'm sorry, I can't quote a specific. My brain just doesn't work that way. I apologize.
There
Not
is
tattoos,
definitely
piercings.
scriptures about not
Yeah.
defaming your body, not doing
Yeah.
tattoos, not putting. Yeah, if you Google it, you'll probably find. I can't tell
I
you what it
meant
is
piercings.
anymore.
I don't know about tattoos, but
Yeah,
um, yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm just not good at quoting things. I'm not good at remembering music lyrics or movies. It's not my thing. Um, or names. But I remember Patrick's name. That's good, right?
I won't forget Patrick's name either. Thank you for helping me to remember Patrick's name.
Yeah, onward. I would have something. Yeah. I'm reading Donwood. She says, why would a loving God be able to do that? He is able to have a perfect love.
Hmm.
Send your kids to hell on their worst day. God wouldn't either. It doesn't. I just don't. I don't believe that.
I
I
agree.
flat out don't.
I agree with you.
I think there's
I agree.
what is the one thing when I was little that I really that always struck me, and I when I was young, is the kingdom in heaven. The kingdom of heaven is in you.
Yeah.
That I knew. It's all right here. That I knew, and I was like, okay, I can get with that. And
Hmm.
then the I also what is oh God there are many rooms in my kingdom. What is that? Um,
Uh, oh, and I know all these really well. There are
oh
many
my
kingdoms.
God! Look at her.
Yeah, she did. Thank you,
So
Jacqueline.
they
There
thank
you go for
wisdom,
all you who want to know about it.
blood nor prince or tattoo any marks upon you. I am the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll
Well,
go into hell if you have a tattoo or
all
piercing.
Catholics better watch out. But but seriously, when you think about that, um, cuttings in your flesh, tattoos, piercings. How many people have? I pierced my daughter with her ears when she was 3 months old.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there's tribes.
Yep.
There's indigenous tribes that
Yep.
piercings are part of their everything.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It just
But that's a part of our learning though, right? I mean, like for me, going from being so afraid of doing the opposite of what I grew up with. Well, it's not really the opposite, actually. It just appears to be the opposite, but it's not, because you're still loving your neighbor. You're still caring about the health and well-being of your neighbor. You're being kind to your neighbor. I mean, there's so many ways that we're actually walking more in the intention of the Bible than a lot of people do that are in religion.
Yeah.
I do know Bible Hub. Yeah, it's a good place to go for things. But
Yeah.
I feel like for me,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I just said I was saying yes to Jacqueline. Perspective and understanding of the writer and translator, absolutely. And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not like, oh, it's totally wrong. I'm just saying it's like the that game telephone where you whisper in everyone's ear.
exactly.
It can't be right. It
Exactly.
literally can't. But I mean, like I said, there's also a lot of really good teachings in the Bible, and there's a lot of things that would be really great. But too many things, too many people are hypocritical and think they're better, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree. The thing that really got me is that when you see the things that are wrong, you know it. When you see the things that are right, you know it.
Yeah.
And when I do a reading for someone and I'm getting someone's loved one and I have information that there's no way I could know. Patrick, if I read your parents, I would not know anything about them. And yet I can get this information. Who gives that to me? Now, some people would say Satan. But why would Satan give me information for you to love your parents or be more bonded and connected to your parents? It's a loving act. What they're doing on the spiritual side is a loving act to heal and to help us, to give us direction in this life, to help us be connected to the spiritual world for our spiritual growth. It's all about us growing as a soul.
And it's always loving and it's always healing. So like if Satan would be giving a loving healing message
Yes.
just to make you evil because you're hearing it,
Yeah.
it just
Well, there would be something in there that would be negative. It wouldn't be loving. When we do readings and we're connected to loved ones, it's just pure love.
I've never had a negative or a horrible reading.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't know by my husband in a Baptist church. I was told husbands were the head of the household. I was a big sinner there. Yeah, me too. Ask my husband. I can call him over. Oh God. Oh,
It is nuts, Dawn. That yeah, it's sad that it's sad. But you know what? It's coming from people's fear. It's really coming from people's fear.
well, and that's where a lot of, I think we were talking about the fear and the doubt.
Yeah.
That's also where a lot of that fear and doubt comes because we've all been raised. Many of us have been raised in a religious household, so you have all these fears, like
Mm-hmm.
that you hear the things and I think we innately know what's right and we innately kind of know what doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but I think all of the doubts and a lot of the things in our lifetimes are, they all have a little foundation in that as well. And your
Absolutely.
religious beliefs, where am I okay if I do this? Because
Right.
I think I'm okay, but the Bible says or the priest says, and that's more self doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's other things that you have to make peace with in your lifetime, which
Absolutely.
is what we're here to learn. Part
Exactly.
of it. It's
I
just
love
like,
That's very well said. And I feel like um, the biggest thing that we're here to do is learn whatever it is that we're here to learn. And when we're not learning, then that's when we're on the wrong path, I feel.
yeah,
Are you
exactly.
reading about the wife's approval?
I try to run my household with my wife's approval. That's probably the
It's
way to do it.
probably
I'm not
right.
going to lie. That's probably the way to do it.
It's probably.
Um, but
Um,
yeah, I think a lot of that. I think a lot of it just comes with some people are going to believe and some people aren't, and And we have a lot of self-doubt because
Right.
it's really hard to separate yourself from something that pops into your head, you know, or like some picture of something where you're like, I will, uh, I won't mention her name, but she's amazing. And one of the girls that I met at Arthur Findlay College, after I was on the road trip with you, she gave a reading in front of this group, and she was standing there, and she said, and the girl was going, yes, yes, yes. And then she said, I'm seeing a rubber duck, like a rubber duck.
Uh-huh.
And she's going, the lady's like, yeah, I understand. And she's like, okay. And later, that woman caught up with her, and she pulled a rubber duck out of her purse.
Uh,
I was like, that's damn good. And you get this weird stuff that you're like, what the heck is that? Like, do I even say that?
yeah.
And had she not said that, had she let her logical mind be like, well, that's stupid. Why would I think that? She would have missed this amazing moment of evidence. So you just say it. You just say it, and you can be wrong. It's okay. If people don't believe you, let them not believe you. It just you don't have to please everyone. That's my feeling. I mean, it'd be really nice if you could please everyone. It'd be really nice if everyone did believe and understand the, I really wish people did understand the connection because it's a good connection and it feels good. And
But then we're back to the beginning of our conversation where we're not all supposed to be doing it. So we're going
right,
to have that duality because not
yeah,
everybody's supposed to be that way.
and not everyone's supposed to have a grasp of it, and it's sad, but it's one of those things. I think.
Don, that's really amazing that you've come such a long way since we first met years ago. That was years ago. Absolutely years ago.
End of life
That's
doula.
an amazing that you. I have another friend. Actually, I don't know if you saw Don a couple months ago. I think maybe I had a life doula on, and she talked about the passing and how to help people through passing. So that's a very, very difficult but very needed profession. That's really great that you are doing that.
John, I have a great person for you to follow on Instagram. I'll have to post it later, but she's a hospice nurse, and she's posts all of these things that end of life that happen that people like you don't know what's happening when you're losing your person,
Mm-hmm.
and she explains it all really well. So I'll put that somewhere. Joanne will tell me where to put it.
Yes, well, you could put
But
it in
I find her so fascinating, and she just hits a lot of things that help people understand death in passing.
hospice nurses are great for going into mediumship because they're
Oh,
seeing
yeah,
and dealing with that energy all the time.
yeah, and she's talked about that too. She's
Yeah,
talks about a lot of that stuff, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we know." And then she'll talk about things that are that happen that they can't explain. So,
right.
and I'm like, I know what it is. I know.
Exactly. You know, the other profession that's the second biggest one that goes into this, massage therapists.
Really?
Yeah, because they're touching people, so they're in their energy and they can feel it. I'm sure, Patrick, you can talk about how you sense things or you feel things. A
I would have thought
certified
nurses.
assistant, huh? Yeah, massage therapists are very known to go from being a massage therapist to a medium. Absolutely.
That's the first time that I ever out loud said something to someone when I was getting a message. The first time it was years ago.
Yeah.
This woman was massaging my feet, and I said, "Have you talked to your mom lately?"
Oh, how funny.
No idea. And she's like, "No." And I said, "Maybe you should call her. I just feel like she's trying to get a hold of you." And I said, "I don't know. I just never say that, and I don't know what had me say it." And I said, "You're really close to your mom, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, absolutely. We have her. She actually lives next door." And I was like, "Okay, maybe we should give her a call." And the next time I came in, she was like, "My mom was trying to get a hold of me when you
Oh,
told me that," and it was just so. That's when I was like, "Oh, so I can say things." You know what I mean?
yeah.
It took
Yeah.
me a long time to say more, but it was
Yeah.
a start.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. You just wait, Patrick. You just wait. You're going to get more and more information when you're doing massage. He just started 2 years ago during COVID. Um, that's funny, Dawn, about your boy toy. I do remember doing that reading. That was a while ago. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know where you've been.
no, man. Oh God, I'm catching up.
I know everybody's having a conversation. I love just having a live where I just talk to people.
It's great. I love all the questions.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember having fun. I love that you're having fun. No boy toys for me, man. I'm done. Done with relationships. I was just talking to somebody else the other day who was having a bad
Never,
relationship.
never say
I know,
never.
you're right. Never say never. Never, never,
You
never.
just wait.
As soon as you say never, something that you said never will happen. That was the lesson I learned in mediumship. When you say something, you go, it's either left or right, and you're like, but I'm not going to say left. And you're like, yeah, it's left. Because
Yeah,
it's always the one you're not going to say.
that's it. That's when you go to logic and you're like, yeah,
It's funny.
but time to have a love affair with yourself, Joanne.
Jacqueline, I agree with you.
Good.
I agree. See, Patrick said the same thing. Never say never.
Self-care.
Okay, my intention right now is to not have another relationship for a long time because I need to spend time with me.
That's good. That's usually when it happens.
Yep.
Just saying.
Oops, sorry. I'm not getting out of this conversation, so I'm going to keep my mouth
All
shut.
right. So anyway, mediumship. What?
Oh,
Um,
there's so much work, man.
it's all
So much.
good.
Gabe, Patrick said it. He's trying to. I don't mean this in a bad way, but he's keeping his wife happy. It's hard.
good.
It's hard. It's just,
So good.
and that's not bad. It's wise, Patrick, but it's still hard. I take that back. Can I turn back time? I take that back. I say too many things. Yes, I remember the naughty cards.
Oh, I know. I was like, I don't know what that means.
Oh, have you not ever seen the rebel cards? Oh, I have to show you something.
Oh crap.
In a minute, I'll have to show you something.
Okay.
So these are called the rebel cards. And this is an example
That
of,
sounds familiar, actually.
they have profanity on it.
I should probably get those. Actually, I don't have to because I say it.
Fun. They're fun, but they're fun because I mean we have a blast when I use these cards. So one of the things I talked about a few weeks ago was our experience in Glastonbury and how we walked into the rune store and my experience in the rune store.
Which store?
The runes in Glastonbury. When I walked in and I saw these.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things he didn't like about it is that it had the printing on it, but this is what you saw. You couldn't really see it because it didn't show up.
Yeah.
So I got some reflective paint and I made them bigger. So now these are my
runes. I know when you showed that to me, I was like, I don't remember them looking like that. Yeah.
No, they didn't look that way. That's why he didn't like it. And these are so fun. So I spent some time doing some readings for my granddaughter, who absolutely had a blast while I was reading for her. And what I decided I was going to do tomorrow, you guys, I know that Marsha is on vacation. So not until next week-ish are we going to do our card readings. You should join us.
Fine, let me know when it is.
Okay.
You're doing card readings? What do you do?
We go on Friday night, and we only go on YouTube though, because it gets really frustrating that there's the YouTube and Facebook, and people don't know what's going on, and then everybody from YouTube goes over to Facebook.
I just noticed. Okay, yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that. I see the Facebook and the YouTube feed.
Yeah. So we do spirit message night. And so we just read people, like what Dawn's saying. We read cards for her that one night and told her that she was going to have a love coming into her life, but it wasn't going to be forever and whatever, all this stuff we said to her. We have fun doing it.
Was that the boy toy?
Yes, that's the boy toy.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine.
So
while.
So tomorrow night, I am slow on reading the runes because I do cards more, and this is more of another kind of language. But I
Yeah.
was thinking I'm going to come on tomorrow night and play with runes.
Ooh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and see what happens. So,
Nice to meet you too, Dawn.
but if I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna come play. But it'll only be on YouTube. Same time, 4 o'clock tomorrow. But it'll be on YouTube. It's
I'm
gonna
looking.
go really slow and clunky, Jacqueline, because it's another language.
It's okay though.
He
You
was a
know,
man toy.
learn as you go.
A man toy. What?
I said that's okay though. Learn as you go.
I know, right? That's how you
Open
learn.
cards. I can do cards. I have a great set of cards.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
We're okay later. So
Yeah.
we can go on and on and on about this.
Look at me.
Do you have any last? Okay, we'll talk after if you want to come play with me tomorrow night. Do you have any last golden nugget you would like to leave everybody? I like to always ask people for the golden nuggets.
The golden nugget.
Yeah.
Um, I do not. I think just rounding out our whole conversation would be trust yourself.
Hmm.
Trust yourself. We innately know what's right. We know what's right, and we know what bullshit is. And when you start questioning it, and you're like, "Oh, should I do this?" and you just have to ask who you're trying to please. Who are you
Yeah.
trying to please? You know, like, or is it just, sometimes things are just right and just wrong. Um, but I think it's really all about sort of learning, and it takes time, but learning to trust yourself and just little by little crushing your self doubt. Because I believe that we innately know
Hmm.
um, what's right and what's
Yeah.
wrong, And even in mediumship, with meeting people, with relationships, like, whether or not you look at it or whether or not you ignore it, that's up to you. But definitely, I'd say trust yourself and move forward and say yes. We had that conversation.
Yes.
Opportunities come up.
Say
You
yes.
won't get anything until you say yes. Nothing
Exactly.
happens until you say, yeah, yeah, I'll try that. I'm gonna pee my pants because I'm so scared, but I'm gonna do it. Like, do it.
Exactly. And then
Stay
you become
in your
stronger and stronger.
then you become stronger. And if you make a mistake, then you learn from it. You're not learning and progressing unless you fuck up.
Mhm. Exactly. Fucking up is what helps us to learn and be stronger for sure. We know what we like and don't like.
Right.
That was one of the other exercises I did is I made myself say yes, whatever spirit told me, because I trusted my team was going to be nice and wise.
Yeah.
Whatever they told me, I would do it. And that was hard. That was really hard. I still have
And
trouble doing that.
how did it turn out?
What?
How did it turn out?
I just started trusting my team more and more because they would never tell me to do anything that was bad. And everything I did, you always got that. See, it's never as bad as you think it is. It's
Right.
never as bad as you think it is.
And it's always kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah,
And even if you say yes to that whatever and you mess up, you know that you did it and you know that you said yes, so there's always a good thing to it, you know.
and I think what happens again is changing the programming in your neurosystem, right? However you're thinking and the way your brain is wired and your reactions and triggers to it. It's
Yeah.
training your mind to be able to accept and do things in a new way. So when you say yes and you're afraid to, and then it comes out perfect or beautiful, then you've now shown your whole inner system that it's okay to say yes. I
Yeah.
actually read
And
a book.
yeah.
I don't remember the name of this book, but after I'd been doing that for a while, I came across this book where this guy said, I'm going to ask people to do wacky things because I don't know what they're going to say. And they're either just going to say yes or no. And I mean, he did wacky. He went up to a famous person's house one time and he said, can I use your backyard to, I don't remember what he did, but he did something wacky in this guy's backyard. And he said yes. And he went back there and they had a fabulous time. He spent time with these people and they had great conversations. And that he did that for an entire year. He said he just
Conversation
did wacky things.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
I think I would say yes.
I would have said yes too. He did wacky things though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, you know what? This book,
I
if you
am down to earth.
if you guys don't have it, this book,
Oh,
this,
that's Patrick just said.
it is the most amazing book. It is, I am so proud to be a part of this book. Out of all the things I've done, this is one of my proudest things to do because it's so loving and uplifting and really helps people. And I've given it to people where they just literally go whatever day we're on and read it and do whatever's in there or whatever. This is really, look how thick of that book.
Did you say that you're in it? Did you
Yes.
contribute?
Yes, I was a contributor.
Girl, I didn't know that.
All three of these books are books that I've written in. Yes.
Shut
I
up.
didn't get you a signed copy, Jacqueline. Are you kidding
Oh
me?
my God.
Oh my God. Jacqueline, message me. I'll
I didn't
definitely
know there was the presence of someone famous.
I have a show and I wrote a book or with a book. No, I'm not famous, but yeah.
Dawn, that is the new cool, trusting yourself.
This is another one that was really a fun book that I was a part of too. And this is all about people's experience into mediumship and the journey that they had to take to go through mediumship. Did you guys all wonder why I have these books back there? Like I'm just pushing these books.
I can't see them.
Oh, you can't see them.
A little backdrop.
This one, though, I still have fun with this one. This was the actual first one that I did. And this one's still fun. There's actual phase pages for all these books. And you can interact with the authors and stuff like that. They do things and whatever. But I have cards to these books. And I've tried to give people cards. Like I do free offerings for these cards. These cards are amazing. I'll show you tomorrow night when I'm on. But what I do is I take the cards and I literally leave them or give them to people. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, how was I on a road trip with you for 10 days and I did not know that you contributed to 3 books?
I don't know. I'm actually doing another one with someone right now. It's 2 of us that are writing a book that we hope to publish. Yes, it's going to be really amazing.
I just don't know what about.
It's, you know what you do is you just come out with a plan, like structure what your book is about and who you're writing to. Only pick one person that you're writing to. I learned that just recently. And then come up with the topics. Like just think about the topics. And that's going to be your chapters. And then from that you put your subtopics. And then you keep adding in until you have a book done.
That is a great idea.
If you write 15 minutes to a half hour a day, you will have a book in a year.
I can do that.
Yes, you can. All of you can.
You just have to decide.
You can get them from me. You can get them from Amazon. Amazon has everything. We've now determined that Amazon has everything. Everything. But yes, they're on.
Patrick said wash hands.
I don't know what he has. I only the 365-day books. So I think he has the 365-day book. But I don't know what wash hands mean. What does that mean? I'm actually very excited about the one I'm working with now. This is going to be a cool book. Cool book. All right.
Amazing.
Go on and on and on. And I think it was you, Dawn, that asked, what are runes? Oh, that's clapping.
Oh, that's clapping hands. Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's better.
I will explain to you tomorrow what runes are. And then I'm going to do rune readings. I don't know. I may pull out cards, but in case it gets too much of a headache, but anyway, it was fun. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Absolutely. It was fun.
We were all over the map tonight, weren't we?
And I got to swear and not feel bad. It's just what I do. I cannot be. I just can't be anything but me.
I know. I hear you. I totally agree. I'm the same way. All right, you guys, have a great night. Don't be afraid of spirit. They're there to help you and love you and hug you and give you big kisses and watch over you and feel for them. They're all there.
Absolutely. And trust yourself and say yes and think positive and speak positive and kindly to yourself. All those things.
Absolutely. You said and say yes at the same time Patrick said yeah. Just want to say that. That is very
That's right.
funny.
That's
Good
right.
night, Pam. Sending big hugs and love to you, Pam. To you too, Brett. Big hugs and love to you. Thank you. Hi, Brenda. You were hiding in the background. All right,
Yeah.
everybody. We're leaving. Bye.